Felix Achilles de la Cámara was a notorious Czech writer. He was born in 1897 in Kutná Hora as Felix Emil Josef Karel Cámara, the son of career officer and printer Felix Cámara and Karolina Šolcová. He studied at the gymnasium in Kutná Hora before being drafted into World War I, where he served on the Russian front, earning an Iron Cross and a Medal for Bravery. After the war, he claimed to be a descendant of Spanish nobility, claiming his great-grandfather was a Spanish minister who fled the country after the abdication of King Ferdinand VII in 1808, legally changing his name in 1924 to Felix Achilles de la Cámara del Campo y del Padrone. In 1922, he married Russian prima ballerina Elizaveta Nikolska, but they divorced in 1927 when she went to Paris. He founded the Commedia Theatre, which was shut down due to bankruptcy shortly before mysteriously burning down. He and his mother were held under suspicion of arson, but nothing was ever proven. In 1926, he joined Radola Gajda's National Fascist Community. In 1934, he became a secret member of the German SA. He published several books glorifying Francisco Franco, and joined the collaborationist Vlajka organization, though the historian Martin Juna claims he never reported anyone to the Nazis during the war. In 1945, he may have been burned alive as a Nazi collaborator, or he may have escaped to Spain and died in Venezuela in 1952, or he may have been stabbed to death in France. We will review his 1921 The Mystery of the Sphinx and Other Tales. In The Mystery of the Sphinx, Lord Shackleton receives a strange inheritance of Egyptian remains from a stranger, and also the address of an immortal Egyptian sage who can lead him to discover the mystery of the Sphinx. He is accompanied by his grown ward Joselito, the child of his friends who died while visiting his house, so he decided to raise the newborn himself. On a previous trip to an Egyptian temple, Joselito was visited by Isis herself, who gave him a mystic ring, which in the present makes the Egyptian tell him all he wants to know. So at night he climbs to the top of a pyramid but is then seduced by the immortal Nitocris, who removes his ring, and so they later find him dead. Before the house of Dr. Faustus has a man overtaken in the street by a doctor who claims to know him and taken into his house, only for the narrator to seduce the doctor's daughter and be stabbed by him, before being found later stabbed with a rusty knife several centuries old, with the house he had visited the night before not having stood in living memory. The case of my wife concerns the narrator who is playing tennis with Miss Annie, whom he loves in secret, before he meets a strange Russian woman named Olga Petrovna. Annie tells him she is a witch who drives all her lovers to suicide, and when she would grab a hold of the narrator too, Annie grabs his sword and impales Olga's astral body so she falls dead into a nearby lake. In The Secret of the Sea, the best story in the book, old sailor Phillips refuses to accompany Captain Dayton on another voyage, saying 30 years ago he eavesdropped on his old captain trying to strike a deal with a horrible man called Grey Wolf to heal his stroke, but his conditions were so horrible the mate killed him on the spot, and the wizard cursed all aboard the ship to die horribly at sea. Phillips is the only survivor, after seeing his friend eaten by a shark, but Dayton makes him come anyway, and the whole crew and his wife and son disappear at sea. An episode in a field hospital has Vasily tell his mates of the time he nearly drowned and was saved by a fellow student from Turkestan, whom Vasily found on awakening to be invoking a horde of demons while naked. He is made to swear never to tell anyone, and after he tells them he is found dead with his limbs broken and his tongue ripped out.